reconnecting with nature, being in tune with nature, being at one with nature. These are all fairly popular spiritual and New Age goals and terms and ideals, yet the common paths laid out for these most times actually end up doing the opposite and instead create more disharmony instead of harmony. So what we're going to do in this video is look at how we can actually be in harmony with nature in a way that's sustainable and real and common sense. And so what we're going to do is first take a look at some of the commonplace examples of this and see how they actually take us further away from harmony. And then after that we'll take a look at how we can actually harmonize and be more in tune. So first, the sort of societal ego-based examples of being in harmony or in tune with nature. The first of the biggest ones are being spiritual or being conscious or being aware. Those are the first ones. And coming along with that, are some other things like, oh, driving a Prius or driving a hybrid or riding my bike or recycling or eating or not eating certain things or being a vegan or vegetarian or paleo or primal or all these different permutations. Yet, mostly these are just self-images. In other words, mostly these are just boxes and traps which we use to sort of put ourselves in, define ourselves, which then usually we do to put ourselves over or above other people. Meaning, I'm better than this person because I do this thing, I recycle, I drive this, I don't drive this, I eat this, I don't eat that, or I'm more conscious and spiritual because I do this. Or, in other words, it's basically just the old feudalistic, dogmatic, religious idea that I'm saved and they're the damned, or I'm the saint and they're the sinners. It's basically exactly that same idea, that same archetype, playing out in just a different way. And an important thing to point out is that I'm not trying to say that any of these things are bad or wrong. This is not my place to judge that. That's up to you because each of us are free to do and be whatever we want. What I am saying is that allowing those beliefs and self-images to take hold and, create us and define us actually does the opposite of harmonizing with nature because it creates more division, more separation, more hierarchy, and more contractions. So what I mean is allowing those images to take hold and allowing us to divide ourselves and have all of those mind games going on in our head is creating more separation, division, an obvious hierarchy, and contraction. And what do I mean by contraction? Well, it's pretty obvious and it's pretty common sense because having those sort of ideals and ideas basically creates more stress and tension in the body, which thus impedes circulation of chi, energy, and blood, which of course is a contraction. Meaning when you're going around thinking you're better than other people or judging this person or that person, you're probably not feeling really open and relaxed and like happy and overflowing with energy. It's usually more of like your posture is doing this and your body's like just wanting to kind of contract. So that's exactly what I mean. And we can see that obviously following that train of thought and buying into those labels, boxes, and defining ourselves as such just creates more contraction, which minimizes energy flow, which obviously creates disharmony, which is obviously not going to harmonize us with anything at all other than some sort of head trip. So now that we kind of see sort of the commonplace, mainstream, or ego-based examples of how we can be more in tune with nature and see how those are essentially traps, how then can we actually be in tune with nature, harmonize with nature, and thus have all of the benefits and fruits which come with that? The first thing is we can look at a quote which comes from a Taoist book, I don't remember which one, but it's basically this: if you're seeking Tao, look no further than your own heart. Meaning, we look outside, we see nature, we see Tao, we see all of these things happening, but all of that's happening in here too. So inherently, there's no separation. We are in harmony with that because it's all within inside of us, because it's all the same process. So what we can say and what we can learn through that is that to really be in harmony with nature is essentially as simple as following our own Tao or our own nature, which is to say harmonize with our true self, who we really are, so we can be us, we can be who we're supposed to be. Thus, this will harmonize us with the greater Tao or the greater nature. So first, if you're not familiar with Tao or that terminology, let's take a look at that and explore it a little bit more. So the easiest way to define Tao is a way or a path. or the way sort of nature unfolds. It's not chaotic, it's not random, but it's not necessarily A plus B equals C either. So a good image of that would just be watching the way water flows, you know, or flowing down a waterfall, flowing down a river. There is a path, there is a way there. It's not necessarily mathematical, it's not necessarily we can get out our protractor and know all of the right angles and measure it, duplicate all those things. It's not that sort of path, but it is a path. And I can almost guarantee if you look back at your life and you think, how did I get to where I am today? And you sit and you ponder for 5 or 10 minutes, usually the way you got there is going to be sort of this kind of a path that's going to resemble the path of a river, meaning you didn't just go, oh, here, now I'm here, now I'm here, now I'm here. Well, maybe if your life is pretty boring and yeah, we're not getting into that, but odds are your life does not follow this neat little organizational path that we crave in our mind. No, it follows this sort of flowing thing which we can sort of see in the image of a flowing river. So that's what we mean by Tao. It's sort of a path or a way, or the way nature is moving and unfolding. So next, when I say heart, Tao is in our own heart, what do I mean by that? I don't mean like your heart beating. I don't mean just that. And I don't just mean like, oh, your heart chakra, like you gotta love everything. That's not what I'm saying either. We can kind of look at it as Shen, or heart mind, which is a concept from, you know, Chinese philosophy, Chinese Taoist sort of ideology. And what this is, an easy way to understand it, is a combination of thinking and feeling, meaning heart and mind, or heart-mind. You know, intelligence that's centered out of here. But really, I see it as a combination of all of our senses put together, which then form what is actuality, our common sense. Meaning it's our, you know, intellectual faculties, our logical capabilities, it's our heart, our feeling, our intuition, all of those things. It's also our gut, meaning our animal instincts, our drives, our, quote, lower natures, all of those things harmonized, put together to form the heart mind, which is the guiding sort of intelligence, which we can then make way better decisions and get, of course, way better results. So again, sum it all back up. If you're seeking Tao or seeking to harmonize with nature, look within your own heart, because by harmonizing with your own nature, being you, following your own path, that will then harmonize you with the greater Tao, the greater nature, the greater way, which then accomplishes the goal which we mentioned in the very first part of the video, puts us in harmony with nature, both within and without. Yet one thing that might come up when you're thinking about this is like, oh, that sounds great. Yeah, that makes sense. But how do I know what's in harmony? How do I know what isn't in harmony? It's pretty simple. You basically just use the simple binary language which is within you. And it's a simple binary language of yes and no, positive and negative, what feels good versus what doesn't, expansion versus contraction. And if you're just starting, and actually no matter where you are, it's just a process of, you know, practice and repetition and discipline and regularity, and over time things change, things get more regular, you get more familiar, you get more dexterous, you get more fluid, you get more flexible, and then things improve. It's just like with any skill, it just takes time, energy, and discipline. Yet it's just kind of like a wave crashing up against the side of a cliff. You know, the water is going to erode the rock. It just takes time, it takes regularity, but it's going to happen. So it's the same way. So if you're just starting out, and no matter where you're at in your life, you might think all this sounds awesome, but I hate my job, I hate all of these things. It's fine. You know, everyone has been there, everyone has gone through those phases, and it's all, you know, a starting place. So the question is, when do you want to start? 10 years from now? Or do you want to start now? Because the earlier you start, the more you practice, the more things will unfold, the more expansion you'll have. So hopefully that answers that question, because I know that's going to be a major one that would come up. So again, when you're thinking of, oh, should I do this, should I do that? What's more exciting? What feels better in here? Not like, oh, well, so-and-so said I should do this, and I really think that this and that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's part of it. That's just 1/3, but you have to take into account what feels good here and what feels good here in the belly, which you can't see me tapping on. So all of these intelligence put together, heart, mind, inner self, true self, Tao, to put it like sort of allegorically. So again, that's the video. Hopefully it's been helpful. If you have any questions or comments, post them below, and I will talk to you soon.